Why the Dodgers signing Juan Soto is highly unlikely. We've got an update on Teoscar Hernandez. Dave Roberts, was he snubbed for Manager of the Year? And a look back on Shohei Ohtani's ridiculous 2024 season. All that more coming up next on a jam-packed episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, do us a huge favor, subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Also, if you really want to help out the channel, smash that like button. Of course, every episode starts with the Dodgers Nation, Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show. I asked you guys over on the X. Really interested to see the results of this one. I asked you guys over on the X, who do you want to be the Dodgers starting right fielder next season? And right now, 79% of you say Teoscar Hernandez, and 16% say Juan Soto, 5% say others. So we're going to talk about that here. Of course, every episode of Dodgers Dugout Live you can find on YouTube, on the X. Also follow us on Instagram. And we've got Tony Taters, Antonio, super producer Tony Taters, always rocking with us. He's looking for your comments of the show. When he sees them, he'll feature them on the screen. If you drop a super chat, we're going to read those quick too. So definitely fire off in the comment section. Also, later in the show, during the 7th inning stretch, we're going to have a Q&A for every episode. Really quick 7th inning stretch. So every comment that you drop during the show could be featured in the 7th inning stretch. Also, those super chats. We got Noise by Noel, Mr. Noel Sanchez, back from Yosemite.
Yes,
back
sir.
from
Yes, sir.
Yosemite. But we got the dirt because we're talking about the latest on Juan Soto and the Dodgers rumors. That's coming up here on the leadoff.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
So the biggest story right now, I think, in Dodgers baseball is where do the Dodgers go with their top free agent money? Who do they go after? Are they going to swing for the fences and go try to get into a bidding war for Juan Soto when they already have some of the top talent in the game, some of the biggest superstars in the game? Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. You already have your marquee names, right? You already have the mansion and the rolls, and you already have the private plane. You got the yacht. Getting Juan Soto is like saying, you know what, I want to travel to outer space, right? I'm looking for a spaceship. I'm looking to go all the way in and try to get all the things that a billionaire has. The question is, do you need Juan Soto, and do you want to get into a bidding war for Juan Soto? Well, the latest comes from ESPN's Jeff Passan, who writes in his latest piece that the Dodgers, quote, won't chase after Soto. That the Dodgers will not chase after Juan Soto. And he also writes that another team with Soto at the top of his want list, the Boston Red Sox, they also have a meeting on the books with Soto this week. And the Blue Jays, their aggressiveness extends into the starting pitcher market as well. He'll go on to say that the two favorites in the Soto Derby, the New York Mets and the New York Yankees, also have meetings scheduled according to sources. Now, where are these meetings taking place? They're in California. They're on the West Coast. You also don't see the name of a team that is the flagship franchise on the West Coast, and that is the Los Angeles Dodgers. So the fact that Juan Soto is starting meetings for what's going to be a massive contract, possibly north of $500 million on the West Coast, and the Dodgers aren't in those talks, aren't going to be present at those meetings, that's a pretty strong indication that they're not going to be highly involved in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. Jeff Passan also said Soto is starting to take meetings with teams this week in California, and the Toronto Blue Jays will be first, according to major league sources. So we all know that the Toronto Blue Jays, they were left at the altar last offseason. They were a finalist for Shohei Ohtani. Of course, we know all the drama that surrounded that. And Shohei was on a plane to Toronto. It turned out to be Rob Herjavec from Shark Tank, and everyone was watching and waiting what was happening with Shohei Ohtani. He ends up with the Dodgers. I think the Toronto Blue Jays are a team that's extremely motivated to get a superstar because last season they thought they were getting the superstar. So by every indication that we've seen right now, it doesn't feel like Juan Soto and the Dodgers are a serious match. Let's run down reasons why he won't. One, he's represented by Scott Boras. And the Dodgers tend to not make those deals with Scott Boras, especially long-term deals. With Corey Seager a couple years ago, the Dodgers couldn't even hear back from Scott Boras and Corey Seager to make a counter offer before he ultimately ended up with Texas. So there's Scott Boras, and then there's two, Juan Soto is looking to sign for the most amount of money he can sign for the most amount of years. And that's most likely going to be north of $500 million. That's most likely going to be for 12 or 13 seasons. He's 26 years old. He is going to sign a long deal. Now, the only way that this would make sense for the Dodgers is if you go and give him the Freddie Freeman special. And that is, he falls into your lap because the team that he wanted to go to didn't give him the contract that he was after. That's probably not going to happen with Juan Soto. Stephen Cohen has been very aggressive. He is the richest owner in the sport for the New York Mets. The Mets aren't going to be outbid. And then there's the deal that the Dodgers offered Bryce Harper back in 2018, a front-loaded contract, high AAV. It allowed him to opt out so he could re-enter the market. And yes, theoretically, that could increase Juan Soto's earning potential if you did sign him for 4 years, $240 million with an opt-out, a player option, lets him go and retest the market again back when he's 30 years old. Sure, you could end up making more money, but he wants the sure thing. And what's the difference between $500-600 million when there's no deferrals of guaranteed money versus $700 million? Does his lifestyle change? Is he going to be going from flying private to Spirit Airlines? No. Okay. The lifestyle is not going to be very different for Juan Soto. So I don't think, and based on what I heard too, what I heard today talking to an insider about Juan Soto, what I heard today was there's no need to go crazy on Soto. If he wants to be a Dodger and he's hell-bent on being a Dodger, then let him be a Dodger, but it's only going to be at the Dodgers price. And that tells me that there's no way the Dodgers end up with Juan Soto, or at the very least, it's highly unlikely. Never say never, right? Never say never in sports. You don't want to say never, but it's highly unlikely because the Dodgers typically do not like to get involved in bidding wars. They don't like to compete with other wealthy ownership groups for a player if they don't have to. The one time the Dodgers got in a bidding war, it was for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Why did they do that? Because there was unique circumstances in that you were getting a prime pitcher at age 25. And the Dodgers are continuing to establish that market in Japan, right? The Los Angeles Dodgers of Japan. And you also want to appease Shohei Ohtani, who had deferred 97% of his contract. So it was a unique situation. And Yamamoto, we saw when he's on his best day, we saw in the postseason, he can pitch with the best of them. He certainly was worth that contract, at least right now, when you look at the price of doing business. So they typically don't like to get in bidding wars. And I think if you're the Dodgers and you look at where Juan Soto is, there's no doubt about it. Okay, Juan Soto is an elite player. Okay, generational talent. He's someone that is at the table with Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani when you look at his ability to rake. I mean, he's an 8-WAR player. That's an MVP. That's a superstar. But he wants $46 to $50 million a year. And I think what the Dodgers need to do is, as an organization, take the meeting. If you can get it, at least have communication and do whatever you have to do to continue to increase the contract that he's going to get. You want to drive up the market value so that when the Yankees and the Mets do ultimately end up with him, one of those teams, well, by year 5 or 6, when Juan Soto is either a primary DH or moves to first base, you want that contract to hurt them as much as possible. So the Dodgers are smart. They realize that. They absolutely realize that. I don't think that there's any world where they're not being smart about this whole thing. They fully realize that you want to go out there, drive up the price for Juan Soto. Doesn't make a ton of sense right now for you because of the stars you already do have and what you kind of need. But yeah, like all these people though that are acting like they wouldn't want Juan Soto. I mean, come on now. That's just insane. I mean, that's the same crowd. That's the same crowd that was saying, "Oh, Walker Buehler." That's the same crowd that was chanting Soto to LA, right? The future Dodgers chant at the All-Star game. And look, there really are no reports that he's a bad teammate. Show me one. I haven't seen that, right? A good teammate is one that helps you win, and he's performed in the postseason. Juan Soto is a great player. I think, yes, the Soto shuffle could be an acquired taste, but right now, I think if I had to handicap it with Dodger dogs, I think it's a half-eaten Dodger dog that Juan Soto is going to be a Dodger. But here's some of your takes on Soto down below. We've got United States of America, no Juan Soto. We got no Juan Soto. We got to Matador 64. Don't need Soto. Give me Teo, Adames, Roki, and more instead. Roy Estrada. Yes, don't need Soto. Get us pitching. Axel Jimenez. Soto is awesome, but he ain't a Dodger. Kelly Oshiro, Teoscar first. If Soto still's on the map after that, I'm fine with him. Love Soto, but okay if we don't go after him. Dodgers Z Showtime. Juan Soto, below average defense and runner only. Is his bat is good? Yeah, that's the thing. His bat is incredible, and there's no one that is denying that. His bat is legit. Okay, I don't think that the Dodgers end up signing him because of his cost. But let's be honest here. You would want the second coming of Ted Williams because he's good. Okay, I mean it's insane to me. Like, and trust me, you guys know how emotional I can get to these players and how attached I get. But anyone out there saying, wait a minute, I don't want Ted Williams of 2024 because he dances in the batter's box. Okay, that's insane. Okay, you'd get used to the Soto shuffle very quickly when he's hitting bombs and having success in your team's uniform. But Tony Taters, are you in or out on the idea of going for Juan Soto?
Nah, I'd rather use that for pitching, to be honest. And you know what? I didn't think they were going to re-sign Teo, but after everything this past year, I feel like they're going to re-sign him, give Andy Pius a shot, even Dalton Rushing a shot. So I'm no on Soto.
How about you, Noel? Because I know that Juan Soto, a very polarizing figure, especially on the social media world. But what are your thoughts on Juan Soto? Would you want him?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think just because of his greatness and what he's accomplished at his age, you have to give him the opportunity to sit down with you. And you have to at least weigh that option. If there's interest on his end, even if it's part of a bigger plan for him to drive up his price and get one of the New York teams to give him a bigger contract, you got to sit down and you at least got to consider it because, man, just imagine you're able to pull something off. You're able to get him to agree on a contract that is suitable for everyone with all this revenue that's already coming in from year one of Shohei Ohtani. I mean, I would love to see Teo back. I would love to see us go after more starting pitching, but if you could put Soto in that lineup, I've been thinking about it the past couple of days. I think that would just be generational. Like you said, Doug, with KD, like as much he was hated in the moment, you can't take away those championships. World Series are so hard to come by. We got one year one. Why not just get this guy and just keep it rolling? I'm on that fence right now.
Yeah, look, I mean, you make a lot of great points in that you can't lose sight of the fact that this is Juan Soto. One in a billion, right? Yep. This is someone who is not a good player, not a great player. He'll go down as an all-time great. And You're not talking about building an all-star team. You're talking about building an all-time team. And I'll be the first to say it. If somehow, some way they did sign Juan Soto, if Major League Baseball was smart, if they wanted to have the most viewed all-star game in sports, they would pin the Dodgers versus the rest of the all-stars. And
that would be insane.
It would be the highest rated all-star game. Yeah. If you did that, and the Dodger hate would be climbing through the roof. The Dodgers haters would go crazy, but you would have enough talent at that point that you can honestly do that. I mean, the part of the season, you compromise the pitching. You wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, I think for me, people need to realize that the Dodgers aren't going to give him $50 to $60 million AAV in the course of 12 to 13 years. I find that very hard to believe because you throw him on your active payroll, then you add Shohei, you add Mookie, you add Freddie, you add the Yamamoto contract, the Glasnow contract. I mean, possibly the Teoscar deal, if they figure that out, it'd be literally impossible to even consider resetting your luxury tax. So we know they're 4-time payers. They'd be paying forever right? I mean, I find it hard to believe, but I will say though, like, for me, you guys know, look, I don't want to waste your time thinking about players that I don't think they're going to get. Think about the history of this show. Trevor Bauer, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, all these players that I've spent tons and tons of videos, tons and tons of hours. Why did I do that? It was for a reason, because I thought they would sign them. I heard that they were signing them, and my gut told me there was a pretty high chance. I'm not going to waste your time here doing millions of episodes on Juan Soto because I don't think that's going to happen. Okay? I just don't think that's going to happen. I'd rather focus on realistic options. And also, too, I always look at what would the Padres do, right? What would the Padres do in this situation? And do the opposite, right? Because they have 0 titles, okay? They don't have one of these things, okay? What did the Padres do? The Padres, you signed Tatis, love that deal, especially at the time. You want to lock him up, superstar, on and off the field. This is pre-ringworm cream. And yeah, unfortunately, that kind of put a hole in it a little bit. But still, he's come back. He's been a really good player. It's been a really good outfielder, too, transitioning there. So that's fine. But you re-sign Manny Machado, that was terrible. That was awful. You already got 3 prime years out of him, and that's going to be on the decline. And then you went out there and you gave Xander Bogaerts, another shortstop when you already had Hassan Kim, a deal for 11 years. So you just don't want to do that. You don't want to do the Padres thing where you're trying to sign every player in their absolute prime to long-term deals because you're desperate, and it just doesn't make a ton of sense. But I will say, though, that this isn't a Juan Soto haterade thing. I know there's people out there, oh, he's a guy, he puts the I in team, right? He cares about himself over the team 8 days a week and things like that I've seen. No. Juan Soto is actually the opposite. I've been around him. I've seen him on the field before games. He is very close to his teammates, and his style is, I'm going to go out there and lead by example, lead by production. And I don't think that he's a bad teammate or anything like that. I just don't think he makes a lot of sense for the Dodgers. But coming up next, we got an update on the player that you do want to sign, and that's Teoscar Hernandez. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. What up, Dodgers Nation? DMAC here to remind you that if you have not yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Dugout Live podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. So if you want to listen to the show in audio form, when you're driving to Dodger Stadium, when you're driving from Dodger Stadium, when you're commuting to work, wherever it is, you definitely want to lock into the podcast. We're going to start featuring some podcast exclusives, interviews. So definitely, even if you do watch the show daily on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Dugout Live podcast wherever your podcast. So be sure to do that. It really supports the channel. And as always, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live. By the way, if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit that like button. Also, head over to gearup.la for all latest Dodgers World Series merch. You got the Kike shirt, WDGAF. I saw someone on our Facebook group was wearing that at Disneyland, Disney World, I think it was. So that was pretty cool. Obviously, hopefully the kids didn't know what the F stood for, but still, that was pretty awesome to see. So definitely go over there. We got our news shirt. This is the one that is hot right now. You're going to celebrate the title. You got the nation. You got the trophy, the piece of metal, the commissioner's trophy. Go get the Mookie Betts 8-bit shirt. That one's fire. Go get the Freddie McGibby shirt. So go to gearup.la, guys. I mean, get all 3 today over at gearup.la. You definitely want to go pick those up. Some more comments down below. We got Martin Troop. Juan is chasing the bag, and we are chasing rings. We're going in 2 different directions. That's a comment of the show contender right there. We got Lil Savage Nate. I just don't want Soto because he's like a Machado to me. Delirium 9, not me. I never want Juan Soto on the Dodgers. DMAC, and I can agree to disagree. Lil Savage, I'm not paying Soto more than $600. Mike Saldana, Soto is not ready for Hollywood. Soto isn't worth it. Get Roki, Roman, LA Saint. Disagree a little bit on the Hollywood thing. I mean, he did handle it in New York, so I don't think it's that. By the way, what's your favorite piece of World Series merch you guys got? Because I want to shout out to my friends over at Dodgers Clubhouse at Universal City, hooking me up with this. Very hard to find. This is the hat they wore at the championship parade. Got the World Series hat right there. We're going to have to send the team over there to do some cool stuff, the top 10 best World Series merch or something like that. But yeah, it's a fire lid. So big shout out to them. We got a super chat that we're going to touch on in the 7th inning stretch. So we'll get to that. But next topic, some really good news. And that is also coming from Jeff Passan. And it's about Teoscar Hernandez. And he writes, the Dodgers are the favorites to bring him back where he thrived in 2024. He go on to say, Boston is in, so is Baltimore, and the Yankees want him if Juan Soto doesn't come back, though he could have already signed by the New York minute, and by the time New York knows where it stands with Soto. So, yeah, I mean, you look at that right there, and it's pretty clear at this point. And the Yankees want him. So it says if. And if the Yankees want him if Soto doesn't come back, though he could have already signed by the time New York knows where it stands with Soto. So he does think that he could be one of the first to fall off the board. And he says that the Dodgers, like I said in the first one, would only go after Soto in the unlikely event that his market softens. So if you're the Dodgers, I think you realize right now this. Soto's market isn't going to soften. Stephen Cohen's out there. He's going to pay him. Focus on the guys that you want to bring in. And I think it's very important to have the conversations with Teoscar Hernandez about what does a realistic contract look like? What does his market look like out there? Because if Teo signs before Juan Soto, I think that you could probably get more value. I think there's a higher likelihood that he's back with the Dodgers. If he waits till after Soto signs and Soto does sign with the New York Mets and the Yankees, who saw firsthand this season what Teoscar Hernandez is capable of, regular season, he was great in the series in the Bronx. And then he's the guy who gets the game-tying double in the 5th inning of Game 5 in the clincher. The Yankees know how good Teoscar Hernandez is. And if you're looking for an impact bat as a right fielder, you don't have a ton of prime left with Aaron Judge. Teoscar Hernandez could make a lot of sense. So my hope is that if the Dodgers want Teoscar Hernandez and want to make him a fair offer, not overpay, don't offer him 5-6 years at $150+ million, but if it's 3 to 4 years, something that might include a player option, something that makes sense for both sides, deferred money, you're looking at 70 to 80+ million, something in that range. I think that is the sweet spot for Teoscar Hernandez, because if you don't sign him, then you're looking at the Santander types. You're looking at developing Andy Pages and Dalton Rushing, going with more of a youth movement. This team is on the verge of a dynasty. They're in win now mode. They have seen a lineup work in the postseason, and it includes Teoscar Hernandez. I've got news for you. This team doesn't win the World Series without Teoscar Hernandez. And it's difficult to find players that can execute in those situations where the moment isn't too big for them. Teo is postseason Dodgers certified. So I think that's kind of the big kicker here, is that both of those things are extremely linked. Juan Soto, because look, if you don't get Juan Soto, think about how attractive Teoscar Hernandez looks for a potential contender when you compare him to a Juan Soto, right? A lot less money. He's plug and play, beloved by the fans. He's a monster with runners in scoring position. He gives you a lot of things that you love and a lot of things that a win now organization would love. And if you're Teoscar Hernandez, he's made it so abundantly clear. I mean, I'm pretty sure Teo would sign here for $1. That's how much he loves LA. I'm only kidding, but I mean, I've never seen a free agent that has this much money potential on the table go out there and say, I want to be back with the Dodgers. I will do anything to be back with the Dodgers. And he's so open about how much he loves this team and this city. So it does feel like Teoscar Hernandez, the fact that Jeff Passan is saying that the Dodgers are the favorites, you have to really feel good about that. You have to feel excited about that. And Teoscar Hernandez did go to Instagram and he posted yesterday, El Chino 242. El Chino, that's a fire name. I love when it's just anything but their real names. You know what I mean? I like that.
His childhood nickname.
Miggy's Locker,
Yeah.
El Chino 242. He says, what a year. Throws up a fire and a strong emoji. I want to take a moment to thank all the fans for their incredible support throughout this season. You are the driving force that pushes us to give our best in every game, and your energy and passion are felt in every corner of the stadium. So in that little blurb right there, you are the driving force that pushes us to give our best in every game, and your energy and passion are felt in every corner of the stadium. That, if I'm reading way too into it, I didn't see goodbye in there. I didn't see anything too emotional. I mean, Noel, you're the social media expert. I mean, am I reading too much into it? It felt like, hey, man, this is not goodbye. This is, hey, I'll talk to you after I resign.
No, this. Let's keep going right here. I've delved into a bunch of athletes that post their goodbye posts on Instagram, on Twitter, everything. This did not feel like one of those. This felt like, thank you for embracing me the way you guys did in my first season here. Thank you for giving me a home. I've looked into his background coming up into the MLB, and he had a very, very humble road here. He almost at one point when he was 18 thought about quitting the game. So I think just being a part of an organization like this, winning in year one with future Hall of Famers, he knows what he has here, and that's why he's gone against the traditional route. Usually you don't say you want to re-sign with the team. You want to keep the mystery open. You want the team to give you as much money as possible, but I think every chance he's gotten, he said he wants to be here. And, I'm sure his agents probably tell him like, stop doing that. But yeah, I feel like he's just thanking everyone for embracing him, and he's ready to keep this party going.
I totally agree because the fact that he is so involved with the process with him and his agent, I think it's not the Scott Boras situation. When Scott Boras is with Juan Soto, it's very simple. I mean, they could literally have Juan Soto signing on ESPN and have an auction and it'd go to the highest bidder. Okay, Mets. Okay, highest bidder, we'll go to the Mets. Teoscar, his agent works for him. It's not the other way around, right? Teoscar isn't going for the bottom scroller saying highest paid right fielder in the game, right? That's not what he's going for. He knows what it's like to be in a happy situation. Early years in Toronto, makes the All-Star team. Then he goes with the Mariners. I think the fact that we can almost link this back to Toronto, trading him to Seattle might almost help the Dodgers because he knows what it's like on the other side. He knows what it's like when he's not in a lineup that optimizes him well, not in a ballpark where he can have the most success. Look, you can make all the money you want, but if you're not having success, then it really starts to wear on you that you're not living up to that contract. I think that you could see similar returns for Teoscar Hernandez than you did with Freddie Freeman, right? Where it's like, oh, wow, not a 10-year deal, getting him through kind of the twilight of his prime, but still helping this team in a massive way. And I think that his age actually helps him than it hurts him with the Dodgers. Because if he was 27 and he comes off this year, it's unlikely, right? If he's Soto's age entering his free agency, this is a non-starter. The Dodgers aren't going to go that high for him. But the fact that he fits in that pocket where you can say, we get this with Freddie in his prime, with Mookie in his prime, with Shohei in his prime, let's go out there and win 2 or 3 rings. I've already said it before, and I kind of regret saying this, but I did say once they signed Shohei that if you just give me 1 ring and 1 parade, I consider a success. I kind of wish I said like 2 or 3 now because I'm all greedy all of a sudden. But the truth is that no matter what, they beat the video game. Now they're trying to beat it again on a higher difficulty, right? They're just exploring the map on story mode. They're adding points, right? That's where this is now. It's already a success because you won a World Series. You're already making so much money. Now I think that you're in a position to take some risks financially with players that you know can help you in a big way. And I think Teoscar Hernandez wants to be a Dodger. I think that Teoscar Hernandez realizes that this is the best situation for him, and it's just going to come down to the money. But the one thing that does scare me is if the Mets go big on Soto and then the Yankees throw out a really monster offer for Teoscar Hernandez, and Teo's like, hey, man, I love being a Dodger, but I got to do what's right for me and my family and that sort of thing. So that's kind of the thing. I don't think the Dodgers are going to go get into a bidding war with the Yankees for Teoscar Hernandez. So let's hope. And then the Mets could also go after Teo too, right? The Red Sox could go after Teo too. So when you want a free agent, one thing that you want to look for is who are the other teams involved? Are they big spenders? Well, got some big spenders that have shown interest in Teoscar Hernandez. Let's just hope that Teo loves the Dodgers and the fans and this organization as much as he's told us that he loves this organization. But next, we're going to switch gears and talk about Shohei Ohtani. Because Shohei Ohtani, I'm glad that he got some love yesterday. because I feel like people are a little ho-hum on Shohei because he didn't have the postseason that they had hoped he would have. The regular season, it was historic. The postseason, he had his ups and downs. He gets injured in Game 2 of the World Series, has the subluxation that turned into a ligament damage, and then he has a surgery on his shoulder. But yesterday, I think it was cool because he got that MVP love. And yesterday, it was revealed by the BBWAA that Shohei Ohtani is a finalist for the National League MVP award. Spoiler alert, he's going to win. And you also have Francisco Lindor and Ketel Marte. I would be furious if Shohei doesn't win this award unanimously. And yes, he will be the first player to win the MVP in both leagues since Frank Robinson did. But I got news for you. Next year, he's going to be the first player to win 2 MVPs in both leagues, right? He'll have 2 in American League and 2 in the National League. As long as Shohei Ohtani is pitching and hitting, he should be the MVP every single year. Now, Shohei is going to win this award, and I think it's important that he did have the year that he had in the regular season. Because one thing starting to piss me off is him not getting the credit for this World Series. Oh, should he get credit for this World Series as far as his legacy? Yeah. Hey, Shohei, definitely go put World Series champion on your resume. He should have done that right after, because without Shohei Ohtani's historic regular season, without his home run against the Padres, look, if he doesn't hit that 3-run shot against Dylan Cease, they could have gotten swept. I truly believe that. He's the one who got the double in Game 1 that set up the tie on the Mookie Betts sac fly that led to Freddie Freeman's grand slam. The pressure he puts on opposing pitchers. And I think it's actually good for the Dodgers that he didn't have his best postseason if you had to pick one, right? If you had to pick one of the 3 players to have their best postseason for the Dodgers, you would want it to be Freddie Freeman in the World Series because he's towards the end of his prime. Let next year be Mookie's World Series, and then let the year after that, it could be Shohei Ohtani's World Series, right? That's how I look at it. But let's take a look at his ridiculous 2024 season, because now that we've had time to process it, it feels even more ridiculous now. So let's look back. He signed the biggest contract of all time, $700 million. In present day value was $460.8 million. So the present day value is still the biggest contract ever. $700 million still the biggest contract ever. And he enters this season as a primary DH. Wasn't pitching. The question was, could Shohei Ohtani win the MVP without pitching as a primary DH? Because it had never been done. Well, if he were to do that, he would have to do something special, something extra special. And what he did was completely exceed anyone's expectations. And it was a year of milestones. On April 21st, he hit his 176th career home run. He passed Hideki Matsui for most home runs ever hit by a Japanese player. And then he becomes the 7th 40-40 player in baseball history, the first time for the Dodgers. So he becomes a 40-40 man later in the year. And you look at his 40-40 season compared to some other players. Before this season, the most home runs and stolen bases in the same year was A-Rod in 1998. And that was with 42 home runs and 46 steals. Shohei had 54 home runs and 59 stolen bases, obliterating another record. And then he has the first 50-50 season ever. Most stolen bases ever in a 50 home run season before Shohei in 2024 was 24. And that was done by Willie Mays in 55 and A-Rod in 2007. So Shohei more than doubled that. So that was a record. I mean, you go deep into it. He had 99 extra base hits. That was the most in Dodgers franchise history. 411 total bases. That was the most in Dodgers franchise history. 134 runs scored. That was the most in Dodgers franchise history. And in fact, those extra base hits and total bases, that was the most for any big leaguer since 2001. He also set a new Dodgers franchise record with 54 home runs. He surpassed Sean Green's 49 from 2001. He had 59 steals. That was the most ever for a Japanese-born player. Ichiro had 56 in 2001. So he made history, absolutely rewriting the record book all season long. And he also had some adversity. I mean, it feels like 50 years ago, but his longtime interpreter, Ipe Mizuhara, he lost more than $40 million on sports gambling. They investigated the matter. You had people saying that Shohei Ohtani was Pete Rose, that he was betting on baseball, and the Dodgers should have bet on him and this and that. Well, guess what? He vehemently denied it. I was there at Dodger Stadium. He came out there. He vehemently denied ever having any knowledge of Ipe gambling, ever have betting on baseball. He did not bet on baseball. He said as much, and the feds got involved. When the feds get involved, that's when you got to take it very seriously. And a federal investigation revealed that Ipe stole $17 million from Shohei. And Martin Estrada, the U.S. attorney, he said, "I want to emphasize this point. Mr. Ohtani is considered a victim in this case." So all the conspiracy theorists out there, all the tinfoil hat wearers, some very credible people in the game were trying to act like Shohei had bet on baseball. The feds got involved. You think the feds are covering something up for the Dodgers for Major League Baseball? If they did that, then wouldn't they have done it a long time ago when they popped them for steroids? Come on, get out of your mom's basement. That wasn't the case here. And then on June 4th, Ipe pled guilty to 1 count of bank fraud and 1 count of tax fraud. And MLB, they closed the investigation. By the way, Ipe is getting sentenced on December 20th. That should be interesting. So, yeah, I mean, the truth is, Shohei, he graduated, man. Anaheim was his high school, and then he's in college, and then he's graduating from college to something graduate school and then to real life, right? He gets married. He plays for a World Series contender. He wanted to come here to play for the team that could help him accomplish his ultimate goal of winning a World Series title. They accomplished that. They did that in year 1. He led the National League in WAR, F4, home runs, RBI, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, WRC plus. He had 310, had a 390 on base, a 646 slug, hit 54 home runs, 59 stolen bases, had 130 RBIs, scored 134 runs, had a 181 weighted runs created plus, had a 9.2 RWAR and a 9.1 F4 as a DH. He's going to go down as the only DH ever to win the MVP. So let's take a second to appreciate what Shohei Ohtani has done for the Dodgers and this organization. Make no mistake about it. All these runs they've had, all these players they've had, first time with Shohei, they win the 162-game World Series, and you have the parade. And what really blew my mind, kind of the big takeaway for this season was, man, I know he was a good base runner. I know he was fast. But when he really started to turn on the stolen bases midway through the season, I don't think anyone could have predicted that he was going to get to 50. I was looking at the numbers this morning. The Dodgers were halfway through the season in late June, and at that point, they had played 82 games. Through 82 games, he had 16 stolen bases. He was on pace to set a new career high, which was previously 26, set 3 years prior. But he had 16 through 82. He would go on to have 43 stolen bases in his final 77 games. It's insane. It was just insane. And on August 23rd, he hit his 40th home run and 40th stolen base in the same game. So that was incredible. And the one knock, too, on Shohei was the runners in scoring position. Could he come through with runners in scoring position? He had some low points during the season, and then he figured it out. From September 19th to the NLCS, he was 18 for 23 at one point with runners in scoring position. He had that go-ahead RBI single against the Padres in the clincher on September 26th. He had the monster game that we'll talk about here in Miami. He also played 159 games in all 16 games in the postseason, playing through an injury. So, look, Shohei Ohtani, it's mission accomplished in year 1. But if you're a Dodgers fan, you kind of feel good about the fact that he knows right now. I know for a fact that Shohei Ohtani is happy about this World Series, but he knows that he can play better and perform better on a bigger stage. And I guarantee he's such a fiery competitor. He holds himself to such a high standard that I guarantee you that's eating at him, that he didn't think that he was at his best in the postseason. But what did Shohei say before the year? He said, there's a lot of reasons why I chose the Dodgers, but one thing that really stands out in my head is when I had the meeting with the Dodgers, the ownership group, they said when they look back at the last 10 years, even though they've made the playoffs every single year and won a World Series ring, they consider that a failure. When I heard that, I knew they were all about winning. And I think Shohei Ohtani is going to have that same mindset looking back at his postseason. That I won a ring, but I know I can be better. I know that there were some at-bats that I might want that swing back. But still, I mean, the standard is so high. The standard is so high for him that it was a combination of, look, he had played a lot, the way they were pitching him. It was clear that the opposing team were saying, we're not going to let Shohei beat us. Anything but letting Shohei beat us, and he still had a massive impact. Now, in the postseason, it was very different, right? He had stolen 36 straight bases, and he didn't steal one in the postseason. He was caught stealing in both of his attempts, and then he goes 1 for 11 after the injury, and then Shohei had surgery on November 5th to repair that torn labrum in his left shoulder. Now, it's expected to not impact him in the lineup early on, and the good thing is it's not his front shoulder, so it shouldn't sap him of his power like we saw Cody Bellinger for a few years, but it is going to impact his rehab with his pitching, and it'll most likely push him into May, probably. I mean, they're going to push him back until after opening day for how he looks on the mound. But look, the Shohei Ohtani experience was everything that I had hoped it would be and then some. It was box office every single night. It was appointment television. I mean, we have the graphic on the screen, 138 days until Shohei Ohtani's batting. When have you ever seen that? Incredible stuff. But let's drop our top 5 moments. I got my high 5, top 5 moments of Shohei Ohtani's first season with the Dodgers.
The High 5. DMAC's Top 5.
All right, coming in, let's do a little honorable mention. Got to go with Decoy's first pitch. Decoy's first pitch was incredible. Like, I can't get my dog to sit. I can't get my dog to pee on the mat inside my living room. He's got his dog throwing out first pitches. And sometimes, I like to dive deep into the stats and this and that. When I saw this live at the stadium, I knew without even having to look it up that he was the very first player in Major League Baseball history to have his dog throw out the first pitch and homer in the same game, right? There's no doubt about it. I don't need to look that one up, right? I'm pretty sure that's the case. So, yeah, look, Shohei, there's the thing about Shohei too, and the whole dog thing. I found it really interesting. Dave Roberts was talking about his daughter and his daughter telling him that Decoy's presence kind of take some pressure off of him, kind of take some attention off of him, right? Because when Shohei Ohtani walks through public, it's, like I said, he's Michael Jackson of baseball, right? He's walking through there. People are going crazy. When he's got the dog, like, oh, it's a dog. Your natural reaction is to react to that dog. And it's a smart marketing ploy too. It was a smart marketing ploy too, because you take someone like Shohei Ohtani, he's already a 10 out of 10 on the likability score. Got the smile. He's got the movie star looks. Then you throw out a dog next to him. I mean, people that are already likable and you put them with the dog, that likability goes to the next level. I mean, I'm sure Decoy kind of was that.
He's like Superman in Crypto.
Exactly.
His dog right next.
It's exactly what he is. Superman in Crypto. And I mean, you do that, and that's kind of the beautiful thing in all of it. I mean, you got Decoy. And yeah, look, Decoy, here's the thing, man. Decoy has a ring before Manny Machado. And I love that. Now, coming in at number 5, top 5 moments for Shohei Ohtani's first year with the Dodgers. Number 5, Shohei Ohtani's double in game 1 of the World Series against the Yankees. It was a 1-1 count. He takes a changeup. It goes off the wall in right field and just a couple centimeters from going out. That would have tied things up. Instead, bad play there by Glaber. Not a great throw by Juan Soto. And he's able to advance to third. And then next batter, Mookie Betts, he brings him home with a sacrifice fly. The reason I have that as number 5, if that moment doesn't happen, then we probably don't get one of, if not the greatest moments in the history of the World Series. Freddie Freeman's walk-off grand slam, the first walk-off grand slam in World Series history. So that's number 5. Big time there. First in the World Series, big double late, leads to a tie game. Smart base running. The Yankee defense going to Yankee defense. You take 90 feet right there, so big time. Coming in at number 4, Shohei Ohtani's solo home run late in the 9th inning against the Rockies on September 22nd. So to kind of put things into perspective, with that win, the Dodgers held on to their 3-game lead in the National League West over the Padres. Had they had lost that game, their lead would have gone to 2. The Padres had the tiebreaker, and the Dodgers had a big 3-game series with the Padres. Remember when the Padres' best moment was that triple play this season? Are the Padres going to have a parade for that triple play? Are they going to hang a banner for that triple play? I mean, that was a big moment for that franchise. But huge. Shohei ties it up with a bomb late, and then Mookie Betts gets his first walk-off home run of his entire career with the Dodgers. And we waiting for that Mookie magic, and he set up right there. So it was a big bomb for Shohei.
Ohtani swings one right center field. Ohtani is inevitable. Changeup, one fastball he saw, but this ball, it's about as excited as you've ever seen him after he hits a home run. Yes, he hit it, but he knew it was.
Boom! Yeah, but the big Shohei Ohtani bomb right there. And then coming in at number 3, this was special. This was special because all eyes were on Shohei to become the 7th 40-40 man in baseball history, the first in Dodgers history. And how would Shohei do it? Would it just be a meaningless home run? Would he get the 40 stolen base in the same game? How about he did them both, and he did it in walk-off grand slam fashion?
Fly ball, right center field. Series going back. He's at the track. He's at the wall. 40-40. Walk-off grand slam. No way. What a moment. History.
That was incredible. And coming in at number 2, Shohei Ohtani's 3-run home run off Dylan Cease in Game 1 of the NLDS. His first postseason home run comes in his second at bat. The Dodgers trailing 0-3 at that point. I said it before, I'll say it again. I'll probably take this to my grave. He doesn't hit that home run, there's a universe where the Dodgers get swept. That's how significant that home run was. And then coming in at number 1, it's the greatest game I've ever seen from a hitter. Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 game, September 19th against the Marlins. Shohei entered that game with 48 home runs and 49 steals. He left that game with 51 home runs and 51 steals. He ended up going 6 for 6. It was the first 3 home run, 2 steal game in baseball history. He also had 2 doubles and a single. I mean, just look at this game. This is one game. This is like a whole season for people, right? I mean, he doubled in the first inning off the wall in right field, almost went as a home run, stole third. That was his 50th steal. Then he scored on a sac fly. Second at bat, he singled that brought him Gavin Lux in the second inning. Then he steals second base for his 51st swipe bag of the season. Third at bat, he doubled home Lux and Pages in the third inning. He was thrown out at third base trying for a triple. So almost had a triple, almost had the cycle there, right? Fourth at bat, he homers in the 6th. That was his 49th home run of the year. That also scored Andy Pages. Fifth at bat, he hit a bomb in the 7th, his 50th of the season, and that also scored Andy Pages. 50-50. Are you kidding me?
On a 1-2, Ohtani sends one in the air. The other way. Back it goes. Gone! One-of-a-kind player. One-of-a-kind season. Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
50-50. Are you kidding me? Watching that game almost made me feel like you're watching a Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa type race, right? I mean, that feeling when we were kids, late 90s, Noel was -5 at the time. But yeah, I mean, it reminded me of that time period, right? Just every at bat, you're watching and witnessing history. Then, okay, he's got 50. He's done, right? No. Then next at bat, he homered in the 9th. It was his 51st home run. Was also scored Muncy and Taylor. So he had 5 extra base hits. That tied a major league record. Only 15 players in history have had 5 extra base hits. By the way, he also had a couple Dodgers. Steve Garvey did it as well. Sean Green did it as well. So a couple Dodgers in that mix. It was the first game in Major League Baseball history where the player had 10 plus RBIs, 6 plus hits, 5 plus extra base hits, 3 plus home runs, and 2 plus stolen bases. It was all-time stuff. He set a Dodgers record with 10 runs and 17 total bases, and they clinched a playoff berth that day for the first time in his career. That game doesn't feel real to me. For this city, it's baseball's version of Kobe's 81. It's Kobe's 81 for baseball. That's what Shohei Ohtani did that day. Okay, now we're going to go to the 7th inning stretch. Going to answer all your questions, get these super chats. Anything you got, fire away down below. Tony Tater is also looking. So here we got the 7th inning stretch.
The 7th inning stretch.
We got David Guzman. If not for Shohei Ohtani getting that double and running to third in the 8th, game 1, the Dodgers lose for the first game of the World Series. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you're looking at the Yankees team. Dodgers 1-5, but with their rotation, by the way, I'll give you a fire take for that. With the way that this team was constructed, you couldn't lose game 1 at home. You couldn't lose game 2. You had to get out and really front load the wins for that series because it would have been tough to win in the back end with your bullpen carrying such a high load, with your starters only 3 available, and Jack Flaherty didn't have his best up. You don't know what you were going to get from the second start of Walker Buehler, Yamamoto, right? So it was so important to win those first games, and Shohei was a big part of that. Carlosi, Perez, Ohtani will only improve on his World Series numbers. He is not going to be happy with the performance he left this championship. That's the vibe I get. Give you a let's go Dodgers for that. A.M. Sanchez, maybe it's Noel's cousin here. He made it look easy. Vato makes baseball look like art. Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Infinity Dodger question. What's the best player you'd be willing to give up to acquire a Garrett Crochet? Good question. The best player, I mean, I think position player, I guess you got to have to go with the Gavin Lux, right? I mean, I don't want to give up a Dalton Rushing necessarily. I think Gavin Lux would be a situation where if you're going to bring back Teoscar Hernandez and Gavin Lux isn't going to be your shortstop, then where does he play? Because we know Mookie's going to be at second. So unless the organization feels internally like Gavin Lux can take over full-time at shortstop, I'll have to say that. Mo Wee says, DMAC, another report came out with Crochet being dealt and the Dodgers being one of the most aggressive. Personally, I would prefer him over Fried or Snell. The stuff is amazing and he is young. Give you a little comment of the show for that. Yeah.
You win.
Absolutely. This stuff is crazy. He's also under team control for another couple seasons. And because he's been a reliever, those arbitration numbers aren't going to be sky high. So what you really get up is prospect capital. And then Max Fried and Blake Snell, you're getting starting pitchers who are already in the twilight of their primes, right? I mean, you're pretty much at the middle of your primes, but you're pretty much going to hopefully get 2-3 good years out of them. And then with injuries, I mean, you never know if you sign a 4 or 5 year deal, how many good years you're going to get out of them. So yeah, I would prefer to get the player under team control and hoping that I already got my ace in Glass now. I already got my second ace in Yamamoto and you get Roki Sasaki. So I actually would agree with that take. I would take that. Snell is the interesting one based on the contract because we know Snell's ill in the postseason. When he has it, I mean, he's lights out and he can dominate opposing hitters. NS says, feels like Shohei broke a record almost every day. LOL. No, absolutely. That's the best way to put it right there. I feel like every day we're almost like getting numb to it. It was like, oh, cool. Like Shohei did something for the first time that was ever done. It was ever, you know, it was basically the Tungsten O'Doyle thing, right? From the Angels. Like Shohei Ohtani did something for the first time since Tungsten O'Doyle did back in the 1920s. But yeah, I mean, making history every day. A super chat here. Keith Evans, $4.99. The Dodgers without Teo is like a torta without Teleres. Are you listening, Friedman? Johnny Lopez. Give me a comment of the show right there. I hope I pronounced that last part right. Noel, how would you rate my pronunciation?
You did great. 10 out of 10.
You do the real. You do it.
Nah, I can't show my true accent on here.
Teleres.
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 There you go.
What is Teleres?
It's a baseball show.
That's a bad thing. Damn it. You guys got me all messed up.
Tony, baseball show, right?
Teleras.
Teleras.
¿Cómo se dice teleras?
Como se dice teleras. I like that.
But I agree. I do agree with him, though. That is facts.
It is facts. Okay, so that's the most important thing. Thank you for the super chat, Keith Evans. That will go to our Teo extension fund. Hopefully, get Andrew Friedman in here at some point very soon. We can give him that super chat money. Johnny Lopez, $5. DMAC, is it possible Shohei's shoulder was bugging him more before the playoffs? I rewatched the Diamondback series and it looked like it. I'm blind though. LOL. Hey man. Hey, go to Kike's optometrist. You'll be good. It's an interesting question that I'll be one of the first to ask when we get access to him next time, because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that front shoulder was still exploding. I do think that maybe it could maybe be a very tiny bit. Maybe that's exposed, but I don't think so. I mean, my guess initially is just no. Bruin Steve, $4.99. Thanks, DMAC. You D-man. I like that. I can't wait for Dodgers dugout to drop daily. Hey, Bruins Steve, we appreciate you. And how about your Bruins, man? Winning again, beating Iowa at home. John said we wouldn't win that game, but no, I'm just playing. John's actually adopted Bruin fan. So yeah, no, how about those Bruins? And how about the Bruins helping out, like Dave Roberts winning World Series, Casey Wasserman hopefully getting his Yamamoto's friend, Hiroki Sasaki. Dodger Blue, can Dalton Rushing be our everyday left fielder? He's going to have to be if they're going to go that route and you don't get another veteran corner outfielder, because he's not playing catcher. Next year won't be playing third. So it's either use him as a corner outfielder or you potentially use him for a trade. Keith Evans, DMAC, my last 3 super chats got overlooked. For that, I need a comment of the show, a fire take, and especially a bruh. Torches on me, go Dodgers. Okay, $4.99, I'll hook you up. Let's do the bruh first. Bruh. Let's do the tortas. Finish him. And I'll give you a comment of the show. There you go. Mike Lopez, now that Clay McCullough became the Marlins' new manager, would you give us a better chance to acquire Jesus Luzardo if we don't trade or lose Garrett Crochet? You're looking deep into it on that one, but I wouldn't say they're not impacted in any way, shape, or form. Got a walk-off shot right here, though. Got a walk-off shot from Mike Lopez. Ohtani, the Mexican fan base has your back. All Dodgers days and that is back, let's be honest. Kenny Chung, look at DMAC pimping the parade cap. I got one and it's fire. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty. I think, hey, go Universal Studios, Dodgers Clubhouse, and then you got the fire thing. We're gonna do a whole. Honestly, we can do a whole segment. I'm gonna bring Noel out there. I'm gonna bring Noel out there. We're gonna go through all the Dodgers merch. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But that's gonna do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. If you really want to support the channel, hit the like button. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. Until next time, think blue, bleed blue.